This is breaking news, guys. The permitted development rules, which allow commercial buildings to be repurposed to residential use, have just been further relaxed. And this is effective from 5th of March 2024. And you want to know about this because this is unlocking a whole host of new property development opportunities for you guys, so stay tuned. Now I'm going to break down for you exactly what these changes are, the amendments are to the Class MA permitted development right, which basically allows a lot of commercial building types in commercial usage Class E to be converted to residential use under a very light touch regime known as permitted development, i.e. it's not a full planning application and it's more certain that you'll actually get the permission. Now, if you're new to this channel, make sure you subscribe and hit the bell icon. We put out new content each and every week, all dedicated to keeping you up to date with all these changes that are happening, seems like every other week now. If you're wondering where I am, I'm actually on the sets of Property Elevator. We're on day 2 of filming series 7. Stay tuned till the end. I'll give you a quick tour of the set and what's going on here. Now, onto these amazing opportunities. Now, the Class MA permitted development right was brought in the summer of 2021. Now, this allows all types of buildings in usage Class E to be converted to residential use. So that includes things like shops and offices, gyms, doctors' surgeries, GP practices, and other bits and pieces. Now, there are 2 problems, or I'd say limitations, with this permitted development right. The first one is the vacancy test. Now, that meant that your commercial building had to be vacant for 3 full months prior to you making your permitted development application. Now, this does throw a spanner in the works to some deals. Like, you might be looking at a property which is not vacant, which has still got a tenant in there, and perhaps they're moving out in 6 months' time. So if you want to buy it now, first of all, you have to wait until the tenant exits in 6 months' time, wait 3 months before you can even put in your permitted development application, and then wait a further 56 days before you can start works. Now, if you're taking things like bridging loans and financing, of course, all that time where things are not that active is costing you money. Now, of course, it's actually a good thing to find a property that's tenanted and perhaps they're leaving in 6 months or a year's time. Why? Because you buy the property now and it's cash flowing from day one. And in the meantime, while it's cash flowing, you're getting all the permitted development rights in order so that as soon as the tenant vacates, you're good to go and crack on with the works. The other thing that some local authorities were doing were putting spanners in the works. They were making you prove that the property was vacant for 3 months prior to you making the application. And this meant that you had to have some documentary evidence to show that it was vacant. And sometimes this was hard to find, or the person putting in the application didn't really factor that in and didn't have the documentary evidence, and it gave the council a way of resisting and opposing the permitted development application. But they can't do that anymore. The 3-month vacancy test is a massive boon and unlocks a whole host of potential deals for you which otherwise you couldn't do. Remember, this comes into force 5th of March. Now, this one is massive. Now, the Class MA permitted development right had a upper limit on the amount of square footage that you could convert to residential use. Now, it's basically had an upper limit of 1,500 square meters. So if you've got an office building that's more than 1,500 square meters, then you can only apply PD to the first 1,500 square meters of that building. And this roughly equates to about 30 flats. So if you're looking at a building that's, say, 6 floors, you could only convert a few of the floors to residential under permitted development, and the remainder of the building you'd have to get under full planning application, which could be problematic. Now, what they've done, as from 5th of March 2024, they've done away with that upper limit. So if you find a defunct office building, perhaps it's a regional headquarters building in an out-of-town location and the like, it doesn't matter if it's 50,000 square foot, you can, after 5th of March this year, you can get there under Class MA permitted development. Fantastic. So let's talk about the Article 4s. Now, first of all, what are Article 4s? Article 4 is a mechanism for these local authorities to put a little spanner in the works for people looking to do permitted development in their backyard. So the government go along and they bring in these permitted development rights to encourage more dwellings to be created. Because of course we need 400,000 new homes a year, and we're not even building half of that, quite frankly. This is the problem that the central government is trying to address. Then the local authorities say, look, it's all very well, but we don't want this happening in our backyard. So they put up a case to the Secretary of State to apply for an Article 4 directive, which excludes them from this permitted development applying on their turf. Now, many councils have done that. Now, the process is they have to put up a case, they send it to the Secretary of State, the Secretary of State evaluates it with all the evidence, and then the Secretary of State grants the local authority their Article 4 exemption. Now, you have to give everyone 1 year's notice before it comes into effect. So there's 1 year window of opportunity to get some deals in before the Article 4 comes in and the gate pretty much closes. Now, what the Secretary of State has now done, Michael Gove, he has hit back and said, look, we don't like this Article 4 rubbish. We are going to force you to amend some of these Article 4s that you have asked for. Now, on the 9th of February, there were 3 Article 4s for Class MA conversion that have been revised in Brent, Hillingdon and Three Rivers councils. This has been an ongoing process, and some of these Article 4s have been amended over the last 18 months or so, and you can see a whole list of them, and the areas where Article 4s have been knocked back by the Secretary of State on this website here, government website. We'll leave a link in the description below. So if you're looking at deals in any of these council areas, you can see a lot of them are in London. Read the amendment to see whether that actually unlocks more deal opportunities for you guys. So let's have a look at one of these letters from the Secretary of State. I've just opened up the Brent one. These 3 councils were issued these letters on the 9th of February, so it's very, very current. And you can see right at the top it says it's a modification to the Article 4 you've got in place for Class MA conversion of commercial buildings to residential use. And if we go into the back page, it basically says how they've amended them. It's basically saying that they don't like the Article 4 in that area. They have knocked it back, saying that, look, if it's a shop in a main frontage, then we don't want to lose the core element of the shop in a main parade. That's basically what they've said here. So that doesn't necessarily mean you can't put a flat in the back, but what it more importantly means that other Class E type buildings, such as offices, gyms, doctor surgeries, dentist practices, those are all up for grabs again by this amendment. Because what they're saying is, look, the Article 4, we don't like it, but we will accept it if you lose shop frontage in the core shopping parades. Because what these silly councils have been doing is they have been asking an Article 4 to be put in place in a very wide geographic area, sometimes covering their whole precinct. What the Secretary of State is saying is that, okay, if there are special cases, then it's not going to be a blanket ban. The Article 4 has to apply to the smallest geographical area possible, and there needs to be a clear justification for maintaining all the buildings within that identified geographical area. So this is a massive knockback by the Secretary of State against the councils who have been putting these roadblocks in to us guys doing permitted development. So both these things are happening. The new amendments to Class MA PD right comes in 5th of March, and the Article 4 stuff has actually just happened. As I said, this is out of a desperate need to improve new housing supply. A lot of new house builders don't want to build greenfield in a field anymore because they see the outlook over the next couple of years as being a bit uncertain. So unlocking existing buildings, particularly unused buildings, is key to delivering on those housing targets. Now you might say, well, okay, we're only a few months away from a general election. What will Labour do about this? Now, at the weekend, when Michael Gove kind of announced and mooted that this was imminent, what I found very interesting was Labour's response. Labour's response was that this is old news. That's exactly what they said. This is old news. They didn't say it's bad news. They didn't say it's rotten news. They didn't say it's stuff that we're going to repeal. All they said was it's old news. And to a certain extent it is, because this is something that the government and Michael Gove has been talking about for a year or so. So if they didn't like it, I think they would have said something in their comeback, which would have been on the lines of, well, you know, we don't like it. When we come into power, we're cancelling it. Quite frankly, the need for housing supply is acute, and Labour know that. And it is blindingly obvious that there's an oversupply of commercial premises in the UK, and many of these ones that are excess to requirement are defunct. Now, I'm here on the sets of Property Elevator. We're 2 days into filming season 7, and many of the deals that have been pitched to us are exactly that. They're defunct commercial buildings which don't have a life. And people have found these sites and they're pitching these deals to us, angel investors, and we're seeking to turn these into sites again which have an economic use for the communities where those buildings are in. And of course it will make some money for us too. So guys, tremendous opportunity for you guys with these changes to permitted development rights. The MA has opened up a whole host of new deal opportunities for you, and this Article 4 kickback by the Secretary of State has also done a huge amount, and that's all in a weekend. And this is going to be a year where there's going to be a lot more of this coming up. So make sure you subscribe, hit the bell icon, stay tuned for more of these updates. And as I promised you, I'm here on the sets of Property Elevator. I've got some of my property devils with me here. John and Paul.
Property devils? You've caught me having a biscuit.
Yeah, I know. Do you want to say something to my YouTube fans?
Hello, YouTube fans. Well, I know
Are you having a great time?
I know you haven't got many of them, but the ones who are watching, I'd just like to say thank you for helping Ranjan and watching his YouTube channel, but don't forget mine, John Howard Property. I have less viewers, but they spend much more time on the site.
Well, we'll compare YouTube statistics later. Paul, how are you doing?
I'm very well, thanks. Today's going great, and I don't have a YouTube, so don't worry about it.
Well, that's it from us. I'll tell you how to watch Property Elevator. It'll be televised in June. See you guys in the next video. Tell us about the opportunities you think this new relaxation of PD has opened up for you guys. Let us know in the comments below. See you guys next time. The Baker Street Property Meet is the UK's largest and #1 property investors networking event. The property market is going through monumental change right now, and at Baker Street Property Meet we aim to keep you up to date with the latest tips and tricks and insider tactics to help you keep on top of your property investing game and succeed in these troubled economic times. The Baker Street Property Meet is fundamentally about networking, because it's not what you know, it's who you know. And at Baker Street we aim to connect you with the people to make your property journey a monumental success. There's no better place to be to further your property investment journey than the Baker Street Property Meet. So make sure you're here, you're connecting with myself and Andrew Roberts, our expert guest speakers, and 300 passionate property people each and every month. See you at the next meet. Get your spot at bakerstreetpropertymeet.com.